How did a working semi-truck evolve into a 605 horsepower machine, carrying more than 21 feet of residential living space behind the driver's seat? What does that transformation reveal about modern long-haul life? Beneath the polished paint and chrome, these trucks remain industrial machines built for work, not leisure. The heart of every extreme sleeper is a Class 8 powertrain, including engines like the Cummins X15, PACCAR MX13, and Volvo D13. Each one is designed to move tens of thousands of pounds, day after day, across mountain passes and endless plains. The Cummins X15 leads the pack, delivering up to 605 horsepower and a staggering 2,000 pound-feet of torque. PACCAR's MX13 and Volvo's D13 both push out around 500 horsepower and 1,850 pound-feet, numbers that would dwarf most recreational vehicles or pickup trucks. These engines aren't paired with lightweight gearboxes either. Instead, they're bolted to either 12-speed automated transmissions or 18-speed manuals, built to handle relentless torque and the constant shifting demands of freight. The 6x4 drivetrain with 2 drive axles at the rear puts this power to the ground, making it possible to haul full commercial loads even with a 21-foot living space riding behind the cab. What makes these builds so striking isn't just the muscle under the hood, but the contradiction they embody. The same drivetrain that pulls heavy freight from coast to coast now supports a kitchen, a shower, and a king-sized bed. These trucks are still governed by the Department of Transportation rules, built to meet axle weight limits and maintain the reliability expected in commercial service. Subscribe now to follow this investigation into the world where industrial engineering meets residential comfort, and see just how far the boundary between work and home can stretch. Stretching a truck's sleeper from factory standard to 261 inches demands more than just extra sheet metal. The cab and frame must take on thousands of pounds of new weight, all perched far behind the front axle. Ari's approach starts with heavy-gauge longitudinal gussets welded along the frame rails, transforming what would be a single stress point into a broad, reinforced backbone. Cross members are added between the rails, boosting the section modulus by more than 1/3 on the 261-inch builds, enough to keep the steel below its yield limit even when the sleeper is fully loaded. Rear axle reinforcement plates, measuring 2 by 6 inches, are bolted into place to spread the added leverage from the overhanging living space. Suspension upgrades are essential. Larger airbags rated for 450 pounds per square inch keep ride height steady despite the sleeper's mass, while steer axles and bushings are sourced from high-capacity models to handle the extra load and torque. Ari's technicians often install ballast plates, about 500 pounds, over the drive axle to balance the weight split across front, drive, and tag axles, keeping each within legal limits. Life inside an extreme sleeper depends on reliable utilities. A 12-kilowatt diesel auxiliary power unit sits under the cab, feeding a 120-volt transfer switch and powering everything from air conditioning to the induction cooktop. 4 deep-cycle AGM batteries totaling 1,200 watt-hours run lighting and electronics off-grid. Water tanks are stainless steel with 150 gallons for fresh, 80 gallons for gray, and 60 gallons for black water, all managed by pressure pumps and marine-grade plumbing. Dual-zone heating, ventilation and air conditioning, a 7-kilowatt generator, and climate-insulated wall panels round out the residential arsenal. Every system is integrated as a package, so the truck remains Department of Transportation compliant and fully functional as a commercial hauler, even as it rivals a small apartment in comfort. A Kenworth W990 stretches over 37 feet from bumper to tail, but what sets this rig apart is not its length alone. It is the 261-inch ARE Legacy sleeper bolted behind the cab, swallowing up more space than a full-size minivan. Inside, the owner describes a kitchen with a 2-burner induction cooktop, a 30-gallon refrigerator, and a full shower with a climate-controlled enclosure. The king bed sits in a separate alcove, and a 7-kilowatt generator hums quietly beneath the floor, keeping the dual-zone HVAC running through summer heat and winter storms. He points to the floor plan's dividing wall, a living area up front, and a dedicated sleeping zone in back. It is like a one-bedroom apartment on wheels, but I still haul freight every day, he says. A few hundred miles away, a Volvo VNL 64 T300 with a 180-inch sleeper offers a different balance. The owner, an independent hauler, prioritized a compact office space and a lightweight build. This rig carries a full-size shower and a convertible dinette, but sacrifices a king bed for a queen and trims cabinetry to save weight. The truck's shorter wheelbase, 341 inches, makes city deliveries less stressful, though the living area feels tighter. I wanted enough space to cook and work, but I still need to fit into older truck stops, he explains. Every inch past 180 adds to the turning circle and the fuel bill. On the classic side, a Peterbilt 389 with a custom 150-inch sleeper splits the difference. This owner runs heavy loads through the Midwest, where maneuverability and resale value matter. The sleeper fits a compact galley, a wet bath, and a pull-out sofa, but leaves space for a larger payload. He notes that the lighter build keeps his annual fuel penalty under $4,000 and helps preserve resale value. I gave up some comfort for flexibility. It is still home, but I can sell it faster if I need to, he says. Each owner faces a personal calculation. More space means more comfort, but also more weight, a longer wheelbase, and a higher price tag. For some, the payoff is a true home on the road. For others, it is about finding the right balance between luxury, practicality, and the realities of hauling freight across America. A custom sleeper truck is not just a rolling apartment, it is a six-figure investment that has to justify itself on the open road. The capital outlay for a 261-inch ARE Legacy built on a Kenworth is $380,000, factoring in the base tractor, the custom sleeper, labor, auxiliary systems, and interest on a 7-year loan. Owner-operators often compare this against the baseline cost of living on the road. The national average for a motel is $100 a night. For a driver running 300 days a year, that is $30,000 annually just to sleep and shower. Switching to a full-time sleeper means that $30,000 stays in the owner's pocket, but the equation is not that simple. Every extra foot of sleeper adds weight and length, cutting into the truck's payload by as much as 1,500 pounds on the biggest builds. That is revenue left on the table for every load. Fuel consumption rises too, about 0.6 gallons more per 100 miles for a 261-inch sleeper, translating to roughly $5,500 in extra diesel each year at typical long-haul mileage. Maintenance costs creep up as well, with the need to service auxiliary power units, plumbing, and heating and air conditioning systems that never existed on a standard rig. Owner spreadsheets show the annual operating delta. A $380,000 truck with a full-length sleeper might save $22,000 a year compared to life in motels, after accounting for fuel and maintenance penalties. At that rate, the break-even point lands somewhere around 17 years. It is shorter if the truck is used even more intensively or if motel prices climb. Some drivers, especially those who make their truck a legal domicile in tax-friendly states like South Dakota or Wyoming, shave another $1,200 to $1,500 a year off registration and property taxes. Fleet managers, on the other hand, often pass on extreme sleepers. The loss of payload and the higher fuel bill erode profit margins, and the resale market for ultra-long rigs is thin. For the owner-operator who plans to live on the road for years, the numbers can work if comfort, autonomy, and the freedom to call a truck home are worth the trade-offs. He says, the decision is a balancing act. measured not just in dollars, but in quality of life and the realities of hauling freight coast to coast. Federal law draws a clear line. While there is no maximum length for a tractor itself, the trailer it pulls is capped at 53 feet. For sleeper trucks, this opens the door to dramatic extensions as long as the combined rig stays within legal bounds. The Department of Transportation enforces a strict rear overhang limit of 120 inches, measured from the center of the last axle to the furthest point at the back of the sleeper. Every inch of added living space must be balanced by careful wheelbase planning. The bridge formula, a set of federal calculations, ties the maximum legal weight to the distance between axles. This means a 261-inch sleeper can only ride legally if the axles are spaced far enough apart to spread the weight, keeping both the total length and axle loads within federal standards. No matter how ambitious the build, these rules form the hard limits every extreme sleeper must respect. State lines can turn a legal build into a regulatory variance puzzle. While federal rules set the baseline, each state applies its own standards for tractor length, axle weight, and sleeper extensions. In Pennsylvania, a 57-foot tractor with a 200-inch sleeper might require an oversized permit, while Texas often waives custom sleepers if weight tables are met. California demands Department of Transportation inspections for extended cabs, and Ohio insists on ballast documentation for heavier builds. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, FMCSA, has issued no action letters confirming compliance when rear overhang stays under 10 feet and axle spacing matches the bridge formula. But any sleeper beyond 200 inches often triggers extra scrutiny. Builders and drivers navigate these gray areas with permit applications, engineering reports, and sometimes state-by-state waivers. As one Department of Transportation compliance expert puts it, if you are hauling freight in a 261-inch sleeper, your paperwork needs to be as robust as your frame. Today, every mile driven in a 261-inch sleeper blurs the boundary between machine and home, work and life. Federal law still draws hard lines, but drivers keep pushing them, reshaping what's possible on American roads. The real question is how far comfort, ambition, and regulation will let this evolution go. Join the investigation. Subscribe for more.